We're a week away from Henry Cejudo's return versus Song Yadong. Who will win? That's what I'm here to tell you. I know exactly who's going to win this fight. And I'm going to give my breakdown and predictions for every single fight on this card. UFC Seattle, it's stacked. All right, and before we get into it, I have to give the UFC some credit. This is a great card. A few fights have fallen off. Dominic Cruz fight's fallen off. I believe the Edson Barboza fight has also fallen off, and also the Curtis Blades fight, but that was intentional, and this is where the credit comes in. They've moved the Curtis Blades fight onto UFC 313. They added it to the Alex Pereira card. So credit to the UFC for putting Curtis Blades on UFC 313. This is still a good fight night. It sucks that we don't get to see Dominic Cruz and Edson Barboza because, again, I believe it was Steve Garcia that pulled out. I was going to pick him to beat Edson Barboza, by the way. But, let's kind of get into this. And right before we get into this, I do have to actually thank a sponsor, the Real Food Cookbook and the Ultimate Lifting Program and the Novice Lifting Program. If you guys are interested in getting in better shape for the summer, you want to lean out, check out the Real Food Cookbook. And if you want to pack on some muscle or you don't know where to start in the gym, you could check out one of my lifting programs, the Ultimate Lifting Program or the Novice Lifting Program. But make sure to use code MMA for 30% off so you get yourself a discount. And let's get into this. Okay. Modestas Bukauskas, I've really seen some good things with him training with Tom Aspinall. I'm going to pick Modestas Bukauskas to beat Rafael Cerqueira. All right. I'm picking Modestas. He seems to have hit a new stage in his career where things are coming together. I think he has this newfound confidence training with Tom Aspinall and the heavyweight team. And even though this is a light heavyweight bout and training with a bunch of plotty heavyweights doesn't necessarily mean you're going to, get to the top 5. But Modestas Bukauskas has been looking better in his fights, fighting with a bit more pep in his step. And Rafael Cerqueira is coming off of a loss to Ibo Aslan. I believe he got KO'd in 1 round. Modestas, well-rounded striker. Of course, you got to expect his grappling to have improved because, again, he's working with all these heavyweights. So, not that heavyweight grappling skill is anything to write home about, but you kind of get my point. Rafael Cerqueira knocked out in his last fight against Ibo Aslan. I don't know if Ibo Aslan's KOing Modestas Bukauskas. I think they would have a good decision. So I'm going to pick Modestas Bukauskas to get this one done by a not split decision, but a regular decision. I think he's going to have a picking apart performance at range on the feet. Let's get on to the next one. The odds are the way they are for a good reason. Mansur Abdul Malik versus Nick Klein. I watched Mansur Abdul Malik's not as tough fight, the Dana White Contender Series fight, seen some highlights from his other fights, and this guy's a beast. Like, on the feet, imposes his will, always moves forward, has a lot of power in his hands, good boxing, good pressure, and he also has a really nasty ground game, great ground and pound. He has a submission game. He's a complete fighter, and I believe this is his first UFC fight. Nick Klein, all it took for me was to see one kick from Nick Klein. And also, not only that, but when you look up, these fighters that are just making their debut, sometimes you click on like one of their fights on YouTube and it's like a 25-minute video and you're like, this is about to be a decision. Every single one of those was like a 25-minute video for Nick Klein. It's a bunch of decisions. Slow kicks. I think he's going to get bullied in this fight. I believe Abdul Malik is like a minus 800 or minus 500 favorite, and it's for a good reason. This is going to be easy. All right. He's getting this one done. I'm going to say first round KO for Mansur Abdul Malik. Maybe he'll finish Nick Klein with some ground and pound. Let's get on to the next one. This is actually a really interesting fight. Basharat and Ricky Simone. It's insane to me. It's insane to me that Faraz Zahabi's brother, Ayman Zahabi, got ranked just for beating a Basharat by like a slow decision. And it wasn't even like a crazy dominant performance. He just like kind of showed up a little bit. And I guess that's kind of enough to beat a Basharat brother on the feet. Literally, these guys cannot inflict any damage on the feet at all. And they just don't impose their will. Toothpicks at range, fruity pebble punches, and the grappling is decent, but it's far from overwhelming. I think that the hype for the Basharat brothers has died down after the Ayman Zahabi fight. I remember bedtime, was saying the Basharat bros were going to go to the top. Woo! Man. Dude, these Basharat brothers, they were the talk of the town with the real hardcore fans back in the day. I think Ricky Simón is going to KO Javid Basharat. I think he's going to knock him out. Like, here's the thing. Okay? Javid Basharat, good grappler. Ricky Simón, he's not going to be bullied in the grappling. All right? Even though he's on a downwards trajectory in his career and he's gotten beat up. I mean, who's the guy that just beat him up? Oliveira, who just beat Said Nurmagomedov. So, in hindsight, that loss doesn't look as bad as we originally thought. Right? And, of course, he got knocked out by Song Yadong. But Song Yadong gave Petr Yan a tough fight. Javid Basharat can't do any damage on the feet. So Ricky Simón, even though he's low output, he's not going to feel any threat. He's not going to feel hesitation to throw his big gnarly overhand, because that seems to be what Ricky Simón has, a big old leg kick and a big gnarly overhand and a big blast double leg. That's basically what you're going to get from Ricky Simón. But I think the threat level on the feet is going to be so low that we're going to see Ricky Simón land some big power shots. And I just can't see Javid Basharat like taking Ricky Simón's back. Simón has good cardio. He's an explosive wrestler. He can't be out-grappled easily. It's going to come down to who wins this on the feet. And it's obviously going to be Ricky Simón. Like, sometimes it's a little bit worrisome when it comes to output, and you put someone in there who's just going to have a ton of output. And Javid Basharat's going to have the output. But it's like, again, there's a difference between Oliveira output, right? There's a difference between, Christian Gutierrez output and Javid Basharat toothpicks at range output. You know what I mean? It's literally like someone flinging toothpicks. That's basically that's what's happening to your midsection when he hits you with a teeth. Okay. So yeah, Ricky Simón via physicality and pop and imposing his will. He's going to get this one done. Alonzo Menifield and Julius Walker. This is a tough one to pick. All right. This is an actually really difficult fight to pick. I'm going to go with Julius Walker. Even though I've never actually seen what he looks like and I haven't even looked into his record, I believe that I think I'm going to trust in him. He has a height of 0. Apparently they couldn't even come up with the weight. That's how dense he is. And then the reach is 0. So the thing is, even though Alonzo Menifield is going to have the experience advantage and we know who he is, we know he's dangerous, how can you prepare for somebody that doesn't exist? Okay? I'm going with Julius Walker. I think he's going to go in there with the aura of invincibility, and he's going to have the surprise attack. So I'm going to go with Julius Walker to get this one done by a decision. Just joking. Alonzo Menifield is probably going to knock him out. All right. If Julius Walker's any good, he'll go to a decision with Alonzo Menifield. But, it's a tough UFC debut. It just is a very tough UFC debut. Okay, Alonzo Menifield hits like a truck. He has decent takedown defense. He has an ability to submit you. Yeah, he's been KO'd here and there, but who's he getting knocked out against? He's getting knocked out against Carlos Olberg. So Alonzo Menifield gets that one done easily. All right. Adam Fugitt versus Billy Ray Goff. I'm going to go with Billy Ray Goff. I really liked what I saw from his last performance against Trey Waters. Some people thought he won that fight, but the main takeaway from that fight is this guy is tough. He's a dog. He has good cardio, great leg kicks, good pocket boxing. He's just going to be a gritty fighter, and he's going to get an Adam Fugitt's grill. And I think he's going to be able to go out there and just beat him up. I think Adam, he's okay. He's got but he lost to the fake Guram Cutelaba. He lost to Guram Cutelaba at home. And I know there was a moment where, Guram Cutelaba at home, he had this, whoa, he's actually good. But where's he been since? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that you have to pick the guy that just had a war, who was able to impose his will. And what's the, 6'1" for Adam Fugitt. His name is Adam Fugitt. And then 5'10" for Billy Ray Goff, 77-inch reach. So Adam is going to have the reach advantage, but the thing is, so did Trey Waters. Trey Waters had the reach and height advantage, and I think he had an even greater height advantage. So if Billy Ray Goff can arguably win that fight, and Trey Waters is a guy that has some ability to snap you with the right hand, or he's got, some speed, he's a little bit better than Adam Fugitt. I think that it's going to be if Billy Ray Goff can deal with that, All right. It's not like this is an old head who just had a war and, the best days are behind him. No, he's going to be good to go. He's going to win this fight by just outgritting Adam Fugitt. I'm going to go with Billy Ray Goff to win this fight by I'm going to say a second round KO. I think he's going to get a TKO, maybe a third round TKO against Adam Fugitt. On to the next one. Ion Cutelaba versus Ibo Aslan. Man, I remember, we were saying things like this 5 years ago, but 5 years ago people were saying, I remember when Ion Cutelaba was a destroyer. He was the official marauder back in the day. He was the UFC's marauder. I remember I thought Khalil Roundtree was going to run through him. I think that Khalil Roundtree fought Eric Anders. He had that Bangkok ready performance. Muay Thai masterclass against Eric Anders, and then his next fight was against Ion Cutelaba. And I'm like, dude, Cutelaba's good, but Khalil's just going to break him. And Ion Cutelaba threw him to the ground and finished him in 2 minutes. Man, I can't pick Ion Cutelaba to win a fight. I just can't. You just can't pick him to win a fight. He strikes when he's supposed to grapple. He grapples when he's supposed to strike. His chin is not that good. Ibo Aslan is sort of like a slightly improved, higher fight IQ version of Ion Cutelaba. You know what I mean? Of course, he's not the same type of guy, but Ibo Aslan, when Ibo Aslan fights, you're not expecting like a super crisp technical fighter. You're not expecting a surgical performance. You're expecting a slugfest. You're expecting a barn burner, an ugly slugfest. And, it's not like Ibo Aslan has really beaten the who's who. He beat Anton Turcal. He beat Cerqueira. But it's just like he's good enough to beat Ion Cutelaba. You know what I mean? And it's not like Ion Cutelaba is like one of the old vets that's not crafty. So I just can't expect him to lean on the craft. So I'm going to go with Ibo Aslan by KO. You know what I mean? Because it's getting to the point to where, okay, Cutelaba was losing to Kennedy Nzechukwu, right? He was losing to Johnny Walker, but now he's having split decisions with people we don't even know. So I don't know. I got to go with Ibo Aslan to finish Ion Cutelaba. I'll say it's going to be a second round finish, but I'll be rooting for Ion. I hope he wins. Let's get on to the next one. Andre Fili versus Melquizael Costa. Andre Fili just had a decision against somebody. Right. That kind of seems to be the theme of his career. It's like, who did he just beat? Fili's one of these guys where whenever Fili's on a card, you're like, all right, this is going to be a pretty decent one. But he's never gotten, I'm sure he's gotten there once. He got KO'd by Ige. He'll get there. He'll get the opportunity to break into the rankings and he'll get KO'd. He's never fighting the complete newbies and novices, but he's always sort of fighting the Bukels and I think it was Cub Swanson I think he had a decision against. You know what I mean? Expect a decision. I do not believe that Melquizael Costa is ready for Andre Fili. I think that he's just, I think it's really going to come down to experience. Melquizael Costa's decent, but he's not particularly great anywhere. He's got some pretty decent kickboxing. He's okay when it comes to grappling. I think he just had himself a submission. But Andre Fili, he's going to have the reach advantage, height advantage, and he's pretty good at utilizing his range. And I think we're just going to see the classic, Andre Fili edges it out by decision here, leaning on the experience. He's got a lot more experience in the UFC. So, yeah, it's going to be an Andre Fili win. Nursulton Ruziboev versus Eric Mcconico. I'm going to go with Nursulton Ruziboev. All right, listen, he may not be the best, but losing to Joaquin Buckley is not really the worst look. Ruziboev, he's not got that much to offer on the feet. You know what I mean? I think he just KO'd Cedric Dumas, but there was an eye poke situation. But you could kind of tell that Nursulton Ruziboev wasn't just going to masterclass on Dumas. He wasn't just going to pick him apart easily. He's got an awkward style. It's not particularly that dominant, but I am going to pick him to beat Eric Mcconico, who's taking this on short notice, I believe. Okay, we're getting to the big three. Gene Silva versus Melsik Baghdasaryan. Melsik Baghdasaryan, he's a decent striker, but he just never fights. This guy fights once every year and a half. Man, what a way to kill Gene Silva's hype. All right, now, of course, on the night he can perform, and I'm glad it's in front of a crowd, because if this was in the Apex, you're literally just doing a rerun of Gene Silva's, UFC debut. Of course, Meslik Baghdasaryan is better than the guy that Gene Silva KO'd, the Wonderboy Thompson at home. I forget his name. But either way, come on, man. Like, you could have got a ranked opponent. You could have put Gene Silva in there with like a Dan Ige or, just a name. You could have put him in there with a Lerone Murphy. All right? That could have been a good fight because he just beat Drew Dober, and that's like a big statement. All right? Anyway, Gene Silva's going to win this fight. He's not fighting a lightweight this time, so don't think he's just going to dominate Melsik Baghdasaryan. I mean, let's not forget, he did beat Drew Dober fair and square. I believe there was a doctor stoppage. What a performance, by the way. I picked him to win that. A lot of people were picking Drew Dober, but I relied on the lighter man skill. I've said this a million times, but Gene Silva's like a more defensively sound Justin Gaethje with actually underrated takedown defense and grappling. People don't understand yet. People don't get it yet, man. But Gene Silva has a really good brick wall level takedown defense. Okay? But he's a wild man. He's kind of like a Justin Gaethje. He takes risks, kind of throws punches like Gaethje, but his head movement is really, really good. You know what I mean? He has like, Yuri Prohaska's head movement against Jamal Hill. He's got like the featherweight version of that. Very good instincts defensively on the feet. Very good instincts. But he's fighting a featherweight this time, right? And you got to expect Melsik Baghdasaryan to have that featherweight speed. So I don't think this is just going to be a Gene Silva round 1 KO, but I'm going to go with a good scrap here, but I'm going to pick Gene Silva to win the war of attrition, and I think he's going to finish Melsik Baghdasaryan at the end of the second round. I think his pop is going to be a little bit greater. I think he's going to have the unorthodox wild man striking that's just really difficult to prepare for, and I think eventually he'll catch Melsik with like a counter shot after he slips a punch, and I think he's going to hurt him and just, tear him up against the fence and TKO him. So Gene Silva gets this one done. Melsik's pretty decent on the feet, but again, it's like he just doesn't fight. He's not a standout. Gene Silva is a standout. Gene Silva is more well-rounded than people know at this point, so he's going to win this fight everywhere. Let's get on to the next one. Anthony Hernandez versus Brendan Allen. I wish this was a 5-rounder, man, because actually, I mean, it's actually kind of a good thing if you're an Anthony Hernandez fan. It's actually kind of a good thing that this is a 3-rounder because it kind of forces him to like adapt his style to these, what could be a future number 1 contenders fight, because he could find himself, if he wins this against like a Whitaker, a Strickland, and no Strickland fight is going to be 3 rounds. They're always going to do main events. But I guess my point is like, you kind of want to see him be able to win a 3-rounder, because if you can't win a 3-rounder, I'm sorry, like you just can't be a champ. Like Merab, I was a little bit worried for Merab going into the Cejudo fight just because it was a 3-rounder. I mean, I wasn't actually worried, but Merab in 3-rounders, you could get worried. I actually said Merab was a lock, but whatever. You get my point. Brendan Allen's cardio is not too shabby, and Anthony Hernandez, that's his main thing. It's the cardio, it's the pressure. Brendan Allen's striking is not too shabby. This is actually a really difficult fight to pick. If this is a 5-rounder, I'm going with Anthony Hernandez, but because Brendan Allen is underrated on the feet, he's gotten a lot better. He actually has some pop. He's tough. He's got a good chin. He's not afraid to get hit. He's scrappy. And we know he's a good grappler. We know he's a solid grappler. It's not going to be easy for Anthony Hernandez to bully Brendan Allen, because I think Brendan Allen is going to have the boxing advantage. Hernandez is actually kind of okay on the feet. In his last fight, we saw him throwing those behind the back soccer leg kicks, which were pretty interesting. And he's actually got some underrated pop, when he's pressuring people up against the fence. He's going to be open to body shots. That seems to be the one thing that makes him very uncomfortable. He got uncomfortable with the body shots against Michel Pereira. He got uncomfortable with the body shots against Roman Kopylov. But, he can weather a storm. That's kind of what he does. He weathers a storm, and he drags you into a war immediately. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not like Brendan Allen is known for his wrestling. He's an okay wrestler with really good jiu-jitsu. Okay, good ground game. I think Brendan Allen's going to win the first round, but I think that Hernandez is going to start to kind of break him in the second and third. I'm going to lean on Hernandez. I do believe that because he is an early starter, even though he'll get his ass kicked for a little bit, you could tell the moment a Hernandez fight starts, like he's putting his foot on the gas, especially at the end of every single first round. And he can just outlast people. So I'm going to go with Hernandez by decision. I think he's going to win this by decision. It's going to be a war. It's going to be a good back and forth fight, but I just see Hernandez being a little bit stronger in the clinch exchanges. I see, Brendan Allen was held down by Imavov. So it's not like Hernandez won't be able to hold him down at all. And I think that on the feet, I think people underrate Hernandez. I think that when his opponents start getting tired, his volume and his pop on the feet, it's enough to get some respect. So I think he's going to win this one. Although I won't be shocked if Brendan Allen wins this just by being a little bit cleaner on the feet. But I just, I don't see Brendan Allen being as dangerous as he would need to be for me to pick him. He's good on the feet. He can hurt people, but he's not like a Kopylov. He's not even a Michel Pereira. If Anthony Hernandez can survive Michel Pereira's onslaught in the first 2 minutes of a fight, he's going to be in a war with Brendan Allen early, and I don't think Brendan Allen's going to have more power than Michel Pereira or speed. So I'm going to go with Hernandez by decision. Second and third round, it's tough to pick this fight. If you're picking Hernandez, you're just expecting him to sort of break Allen a little bit in the second and third. But skill-wise, I don't mind someone picking Brendan Allen just because he is pretty clean on the feet these days. And he's a great grappler, so you would think he could maybe nullify Anthony Hernandez's wrestling a little bit. Anthony Hernandez, I don't think is the most crispy technical fighter. It's really, he's decent technically, but his physicality and his pressure and his cardio is so great. But again, this is a tricky matchup. But if he can win this against Brendan Allen, if he can hold Brendan Allen down, then I think this guy is a future potential champion. Potential. I don't know. I'm not saying he becomes a champ, but he'll definitely have potential to become a champion if he beats Brendan Allen. Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong. I think Song Yadong is going to KO Henry Cejudo. Not out cold. I think we're going to see a TKO in the third round. The thing is, man, Song Yadong is a lot more powerful than Aljo, than, what's his name, Merab Dvalishvili. And Merab Dvalishvili was getting some respect from Cejudo. And Merab's got some underrated speed with his right hand, but at the end of the day, I see some fighters in the pros pick videos, and they're just saying, oh, Cejudo, man. Cejudo, he's still got it. He's super technical. He's just a maestro, basically. I think Bedtime is saying Cejudo's going to win this, and based on what? Based on, he just lost to the champ, right? Song Yadong just had a split decision, arguably, against Petr Yan. He just went tooth and nail with prime Petr Yan, who is one of the best strikers and one of the most skilled fighters in the entire sport. Again, in his prime, and Song Yadong won the first round, and made the second and third razor close. And let's be honest about Henry Cejudo's striking. It's not as crisp as Petr Yan, all right? It's always been slightly overrated as far as people saying he's this master. He's just too technical. He's a guy with a big, powerful arm punch of a right hand. All right, now, again, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but Cejudo's a guy that bites down on the mouthpiece and throws a gnarly wrestler's right. And he'll chop a leg kick every now and then, but, you're not going to see, oh, holy shit, that combination. You're not really going to see a whole lot of that like you would with Petr Yan, right? Song Yadong has the same sort of style on the feet as Henry Cejudo. It's just he's in his prime. He hits even harder, and he can bully people. And I just don't know if 38-year-old Henry Cejudo, who's taken another year off, is going to be able to withstand it. Again, Cejudo's known for his durability. He's known for his toughness. But you see Merab starting to crack him. Aljo, of course, he didn't get cracked by Aljo at all, but that's Aljo. But again, Cejudo is still good. He's still good. If this was prime Cejudo, maybe I'd take him by decision to win this fight. But he's saying that he's going to go out there and finish Song Yadong. He's saying, I think I'm going to stop him. Man, how, dude? Because he can't submit anyone in the UFC, or at least he's never done it. And I don't think Song Yadong is going to be the first guy that he submits. Sure, he could submit somebody making their debut or whatever, but he's not submitting Song Yadong. All right, and Song Yadong's got good cardio. Like, sure, we've seen Corey Sandhagen sort of elbow him on the ground and stuff like that, but dude, as far as I'm concerned, Sandhagen's got better control. So what, is he going to stop Song Yadong on the feet? I don't think so. I think Song Yadong has a fire hydrant for a head. Again, he's been in a lot of wars. He's been in a lot of scraps. But he's kind of like, Henry Cejudo had a fire hydrant for a head, but now he's 38. I think we're going to see these guys butt heads like rams in the middle of the octagon. It's going to be a right hand fest. Right hand after right hand, and gnarly right hand. And Henry Cejudo's, there's a slick Henry Cejudo takedown in the first round. Here's some pebble punches, and Song works his way back up. Second round, man, these guys are scrapping. Song Yadong cracks him. And Henry Cejudo's starting to get respect. You never really seen Henry get rocked. Henry's going to have his hands. You never really seen Henry get rocked. I think that, like, again, this is not the same guy that fought Demetrius Johnson. He's not, like, totally washed. This is not Stipe going in to fight John Jones. It's not like that level of washed. Cejudo still looks pretty good. He's still kind of fast for his age. But, again, there have been some injuries. His last performance, it's like, again, okay, it's against Merab, whatever. I get it. Merab is a machine, okay? But it's been a year since then. Okay, and since the Aljamain fight, it's been 2.5 years. And Cejudo's been in some scraps. And Song Yadong is known for being in scraps. Even, like, I'm sorry, you can't fucking convince me that this is an easy win for Cejudo because he's objectively way worse than Petr Yan. And Petr Yan, again, had a tooth and nail fight. And don't give me, but Cejudo's got the wrestling, mate. I mean, come on, bro. Come on, bro. I don't mean to be Yoel right now, but come on, bro. Don't give me the Henry Cejudo, but Cejudo can, here's the thing though, unlike Petr Yan, Cejudo can mix it up. Bro, Petr Yan is one of the most well-rounded fighters ever. And yes, he did win with the wrestling. But like, he had to sneak those takedowns in. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to say Petr Yan's a better MMA wrestler right now. Right now, he's a better MMA wrestler. It just is. He's a better MMA grappler. Cejudo, okay, fine. Yeah. Cejudo in a only wrestling fight. Wrestling rules only. Yes, I understand, dude. I get it. And yes, he will take down Song Yadong. He's going to do it. I guarantee you he's going to take him down. 100%. But you got people that are like, Cejudo's only lost to the best of the best. Song Yadong just got razor close to edging out a decision against Petr Yan. That was close. Petr Yan, okay, yeah, it's not like it could have gone either way. Petr Yan definitely won, but it was a razor close fight. He's improved. He's an improved fighter. Okay? This is not, Corey Sandhagen who's going to be floating around and switching stances and this is before Corey Sandhagen got too deep into the weeds with the beakers and test tubes when he beat Song Yadong. And this is not, Petr Yan, where Petr Yan, short guy, similar to Song Yadong. He's got the high guard. He's not like Mr. Rangy. But Petr Yan's got the best boxing combinations, and he's got amazing timing. Okay, he's got really solid spinning kicks. He's got it all. Cejudo is a little bit more cobbly than Yan. Of course, there have been some injuries. He's been in some scraps. He's 38 years old. Song Yadong hits like a fucking truck. All right, there were some moments where when he was fighting Petr Yan, he cracked him with some gnarly shots. And Petr Yan's got a granite chin. Again, Cejudo's very tough. He's got a good chin, but Song cracks harder than Merab. Okay, and Song can pressure people. And this is a 5-round fight. I think Cejudo's going to take maybe the first round, but I think after that, he's not going to hold down Song Yadong consistently, and it's going to come down to what happens on the feet. And I just can't see this being a boring fight. This is not going to be like, like Cejudo versus Demetrius Johnson 2. You know how, or Darren Till versus Wonderboy Thompson. You remember those fights where there's like a really high-level chess match going on? And for whatever reason, I always like imagine like a British crowd in my head. I understand that Darren Till versus Wonderboy was in Liverpool, but like this is not going to be one of those slow, super technical chess matches where the fans are saying, ole, 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 ole. And there's like one leg kick every 3 minutes. That's not going to happen. Cejudo is a guy that is going to be throwing right hands, okay, and leg kicks. That's his style on the feet. Right hands and leg kicks. And Song Yadong is going to be doing the same exact thing. It's just that Song Yadong is in his prime, all right? He's got nasty power. His takedown defense, despite the fact that Jan got him down and Sandhagen got him down a couple times, is actually very good. Again, Cejudo will take him down, but eventually he won't be able to consistently do it. He's not Merab. He's not going to shoot 50,000 takedowns. This is going to be a scrap. It's going to be a war, and Song Yadong is going to win a war of attrition. He's going to knock Cejudo out. He's going to knock Cejudo out 100%. I guarantee it. 3rd round or 4th round. He's going to KO Cejudo. All right? And it's going to be one of those old man KOs. Like, I mean, this is ultimately what it's going to come down to. I know Cejudo's tough. I know he's good. He's not totally washed. But what this sort of matchup represents is the game has kind of caught up to him. He's no longer in his prime as well. You know what I mean? So again, if this was prime Cejudo, I might be like, you know what? I could kind of trust Cejudo to kind of edge this one out, having a little bit of that extra fight IQ, a little bit of craftiness going on. But now he's not in his prime. He's a little bit more cobbly. And Song Yadong, modern era prime fighter, the game has caught up to Cejudo's style just a tiny bit as well. I think like that's going to create the perfect storm for Song Yadong to win this fight. And the reason why I think it's going to be an old man KO is because, like, again, it's going to be one of those KOs where, like, Cejudo's very tough, but eventually he's just going to get hit with a shot where it's like he's going to get wide-eyed, and I think he's going to go down. And it's going to be like one of those awkward KOs. You know what I mean? It's not going to be too brutal. It's not going to be a flat line. It's just going to be he gets stung, Song Yadong's on him, and, he gets him with another good shot. Oh! It's going to be one of those, like, domino effect KOs. It's not going to be like he's teeing off and Cejudo goes down, or a big punch and he's out. It's going to be he gets rocked, and he's kind of on his feet, sort of like Yuri Jamal Hill when Jamal Hill got up. Like he was already rocked, and then Yuri, kind of throws him to the ground, but also hits him with a punch, and he's kind of falling to the ground. Or it's going to be like the Rakic falling around and stuff like that. Like he's going to rock Cejudo. Cejudo's going to be trying to recover, and Song's going to get him with another shot, which is going to make him even more rocked, and eventually he's just going to tumble, and the ref's going to step in. 3rd or 4th round KO. TKO for Song Yadong. I think that's what he's going to get this one done by. Again, a lot of people that are picking Cejudo are picking him based on he's only lost to the best, Aljo and Merab. But they're ignoring the same logic with Song Yadong only just barely lost to Peter Yan, who has a similar, not like same style as Cejudo, but he's like, he's going to be in the pocket. Yan is like a pocket striker type of fighter, close range striker type of fighter, and also has amazing grappling that he can mix in, and ultimately he did that. But again, Yan is better on the feet, much more technical on the feet, like much more well-rounded as a striker. He has more tools. And he's also in his prime. And the difference is Henry Cejudo's not in his prime, and he's a less well-rounded striker. And he's 38, a little bit more cobbly. So I actually kind of want Henry to win this fight. It'd be nice to see him get this one done because, of course, he retired, and he, expected the UFC to give him this big payday on his return, and they weren't necessarily going to do that. And since he's come back, he's just lost all of his fights. It'd be nice to see him get back in the win column. He's saying he's making another championship run. I honestly think that if he were to win this fight, that could be the perfect time to hang up the gloves because this is a really solid win on his resume. I don't think he would, though. But imagine, he fights Song Yadong, has a war, wins, takes another year off. He's not going to win the belt at 39. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, I think this is going to be a Song Yadong sending Henry Cejudo into retirement. Okay? He's going to win. Song Yadong's going to get this one done. 4th round or 3rd round TKO. That's how this fight is going to go down. If Cejudo wins this, I'm going to be incredibly impressed. Okay? So we'll see. I'm not counting him out completely, but I just think the clear pick right here is Cejudo. And people, again, they're saying, He only lost to Merab, and he's still pretty good. He won the first round against Merab, but, like, he was getting cracked. All right? He's wearing the knee brace these days. He's 38. Song Yadong just had a really good fight with Peter Yan, and you can't be telling me, well, actually, Cejudo's a little more well-rounded because he's just in MMA. Okay, forget about the gold medal. In MMA, he's just not, like, on another level to Peter Yan in terms of well-roundedness. Like, what are we talking about? Peter Yan is as well-rounded as it gets. He wrestles all the time, and actually he's better at MMA grappling. So, yeah. I'm going to say Cejudo wins the first, but maybe not. And it's just going to be a war of attrition, and Song's going to win. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I can't wait for this fight. These 3 fights are amazing. Anyway, until next time.